general, I don't need specifics. Are the rest of the individuals here in the room as witnesses or as observers? What will be their role?
Well, some folks from our church and other pastors. I had one man that I'd like to have give a testimony about what happened in his church.
I'd like, no offense intended, I'm just going to slide these down now. If you could just sign in so I have the correct spelling of your name.
I inherited my father's tremor, so it might be hard to read.
I can assure you that you're not the only one in the room with that problem. So. And Mr. Jones, how do you prefer to be referred to? Is it pastor, trustee?
That's fine.
Pastor?
That's fine.
What we'll do, I have a brief script here, just to kind of set the scene, and then we'll get started. Unless there are any pre-hearing issues that anybody needs to just... Okay. This is an administrative hearing being held pursuant to IC 6-1.1-1-1. Formal written notice of this hearing was given pursuant to the applicable law, and the hearing was set for February 11th, 2014 at 1:15 p.m. This hearing is being held in regard to petition 51-1006-1328-00001 filed by Trinity Springs Baptist Church for parcel 510529100056.000-006 located at 8695 Bill Fisher Road in Shoals, Indiana, Martin County. These proceedings are public with one exception, which is trade secrets as defined by the Indiana Code. Will there be any trade secrets at issue in this hearing? My name is Ron Gudgel, and I am the Administrative Law Judge appointed by the Indiana Board of Tax Review to conduct this hearing. Will the person representing the petitioner please identify yourself, spell your name, and state your title for the record?
Pastor Martin Jones, M-A-R-D-I-N-J-O-N-E-S.
Thank you. Will the person representing the County Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals please identify yourself, spell your name, and state your title for the record?
Carol McGuire, C-A-R-O-L-Y-N-M-C-G-U-I-R-E, County Assessor.
All persons who may be witnesses in this hearing, please hold up your right hand to be sworn or affirmed. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sure.
And for the persons who are just sworn, please identify yourselves again for the record.
Pastor Martin Jones.
Carolyn McGuire.
Pastor Greg Dixon.
This hearing is being held to review the action of the Martin County Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals, we'll shorten that to PETA-BOA, on the exemption application. Form 132 petition requesting the administrative review as a part of this record as Board Exhibit A. The exemption application under appeal seeks an appeal for the assessment year 2013. Does everyone present agree the year under appeal is as stated?
I'm sorry.
Do we agree that the year under appeal
Yes, sir. Yes.
is 2013? Ms. Clark, thank you. The action of the PETA-BOA has determined the properties to be 0% non-taxable. Does everyone present agree that is what the PETA-BOA decided? In other words, they're saying it's fully taxable?
That's what the assessor's saying.
Yes, I understand that you don't necessarily agree with that.
Correct.
All right, this hearing will proceed as follows. Following brief opening arguments, if you care to make them, each side will be allowed time to present evidence in support of their case. First, the petitioner will present the evidence in support of exemption. Then the respondent will present evidence in support of its position. When a party presents evidence, they should establish how each piece of evidence is relevant to the case. After presenting the evidence, both parties will again be given an opportunity to make brief closing arguments. And if there are no further questions, petitioner may now present your case, Pastor Johnson. Thank you.
Got a slide, Miss?
Yes, that'd be fine. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, Your Honor. And Counsel, my name is Martin Jones. I'm here this afternoon in my capacity as pastor trustee of the Trinity Springs Baptist Church of Trinity Springs, Indiana, Martin County, pursuant to a declaration of trust that was duly executed with the congregational resolution of the members of the Trinity Springs Baptist Church on May 31st, 2006. And that is our Exhibit A. Trinity Springs Baptist Church is a New Testament church in the Anabaptist tradition that holds as its central tenet the sole authority and lordship of Jesus Christ over his church. Our position is that the Lord's church is non-taxable, not tax exempt by right, both biblically and historically. And we've entered Exhibit B, the Trail of Blood by Dr. J.M. Carroll. The subject property herein has a 157-year history as a church. Until this fiasco, it has always been a non-taxable as provided under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution and the State of Indiana Constitution and Bill of Rights. Suddenly, this property has to have a redetermination of its non-taxable status. The question existing here is why? Better yet, the question is who and for what purpose? To give you a little overview of the case, in 1856, subject property was built and used exclusively for a church. and has remained as such until the date of this hearing. 2006, Trinity Springs Baptist Church executed a declaration of trust together with a congregational resolution from the members wherein the pastor, Martin Jones, was also designated as the trustee of Trinity Springs Baptist Church property, whether real or personal. This action necessitated that a quick claim deed be prepared and filed, which stated on the front of said deed in bold type, "This was not a change of ownership, only a substitution of trustee." This quitclaim deed was hand-carried by myself, Pastor Trustee Martin Jones, of Trinity Springs Baptist Church to the auditor's office, where the records were checked to make sure that there were no outstanding obligations involved with this matter, property. And the same was recorded on 6/1/2006. The letter of notification, which is our Exhibit C, regarding not filing or filling out the exemption form, was accepted and filed with the tax assessor on 6/5/2006. Then 2 years later, in 2008, I received a statement from the treasurer, Martin County Treasurer, that there was no tax due. I have a copy of that I'd like to give to you. Slide this again over there.
Okay.
Yep. Let me get some help there.
And is this entered as an exhibit already?
No, that was not an exhibit, sir.
Okay. Less for convenience sake then, label this as the petitioner's exhibit F, is that correct?
I think we've used F.
F, so it'd be G,
G would be the next one.
okay? So the real estate tax statement will be labeled petitioner's exhibit B.
G.
Okay, G, I'm sorry. You
Thank
may
you.
proceed.
7 years later, in April 2013, Pastor Trustee Martin Jones of Trinity Springs Baptist Church received a notice of tax due. He immediately calls the auditor, who told him that this was obviously a mistake. She would take care of it. However, she did not take care of it. Instead, he received a letter from the auditor stating that the exemption would not be granted because, and quote, Assessor McGuire stated that you have not filed the proper paperwork in order to be considered a nonprofit, end quote. Again, he took the same letter of notification which was used and accepted 7 years earlier, which is now being denied, again in 2013. And that's our Exhibit D. This matter was appealed and denied. It was further appealed with a final adjudication from the County Property Assessment Board of Appeals on July 1st, 2013, with their determination statement as follows, and this is a quote: the PTA BOA denied the letter that was presented. No form answering the specific questions was filed, no articles of incorporation or bylaws were filed, and no financial statements were filed, end of quote. By the very wording of the denial, you prejudice your premises for approval through the automatic requirement of articles of state incorporation and bylaws. I'm going to add just a little bit of levity here in this very serious consideration. And it appears that it's the intention of the tax assessor to rename reclarify, redetermine, reclassify this 170-year-old church as a commercial theater. That's in quotes. That's what it was assessed as. All of this flurry of activity occurring in undoubtedly one of the poorest counties in the state of Indiana, which area of Trinity Springs does not even have a traffic signal. We don't have a grocery store, a gas station. And to my knowledge, there's no commercial enterprise at all in Trinity Springs. Who would have thought? Now, the law here is revealed that since the law in favor of Trinity Springs Baptist Church is so overwhelming, I will only list the same in authority status. Number 1, the State of Indiana Constitution, Bill of Rights, Article 1, Sections 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 2, the United States Constitution, Bill of Rights, First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Number 3, the Indiana Code 6-1-1-11-3 and 3-5, which in quotes, accommodation for religiously based objections to statutory requirement when reasonable alternatives are available. End of quote. That has to do with our notification. Number 4 is a memorandum from State Board of Tax Commissioners to county auditors regarding exemptions of religious property. And that's our Exhibit E. To give you a little background of our position, we've presented Exhibit F, entitled Biblical and Historical Baptist Position. I'm not going to attempt to read all that. You have that. But I do want you to know that Baptists have a long history regarding religious liberty and the separation of church and state. Many of our forefathers were imprisoned, tortured. They suffered tremendous loss of property. Some of them were even killed. And I'm here this afternoon to assure you that when I get to heaven one of these days, which may not be very long, I don't intend to apologize to them for dropping the ball that they gave me. 25 years ago, in order to make our position clear and to show that we're neither anarchists nor rebels, we presented our cause to the governor of the state of Indiana, explaining our position on this issue. Subsequent to our meeting with him, he instructed those in the respective offices to write the following memo to all county assessors on behalf of our unregistered churches in the state. That's our Exhibit E. For these 25 years, we've had no problems wherever our churches exist in this state until now. Trinity Springs Baptist Church filed a letters of notification, Exhibits C and D, 7 years ago, which was accepted by the county assessor at that time. Several other pastors of unregistered churches here today have done the same thing in their respective counties without controversy, some for nearly 25 years. Even the law says clearly that a church never has to file for an exemption again unless it changes owners or its use. In the case of the Trinity Springs Baptist Church, neither is the case. We're praying that this court will recognize our God-given rights to honor our faith by granting a ruling in favor of the congregation of the Trinity Springs Baptist Church. I have one of our unregistered pastors here with me today that I would like to have him, if he would, say just a few words concerning the experience that he's had with this issue. Pastor Greg Dixon from Indianapolis.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. My comments really are on very practical, from a very practical standpoint. I think Pastor Jones has done a tremendous job laying out the constitutional and legal aspects of his case today. But from a very practical standpoint, we had a little difficulty several years ago in Marion County with a property tax issue on our church property. For 25 plus years, our property, wherever we have met as a church, has been exempted from property taxes. So we've never had an issue with that as a church or a problem. And we likewise, we are an unregistered, unincorporated local New Testament Baptist church. We have been officially since 1984, January 1st. And we have never had a problem with property taxes other than one time. And that was about 2 or 3 years ago. There was a case up in Hamilton County that kind of, I think, threw all the counties into a little tailspin. Make a long story short, we met with attorneys. I spent like $7,000 plus for the attorneys to come back after several weeks stating that there's nothing that they can do for us. So I sent an email. Didn't cost me anything. Just sent an email to Melissa Tetrick that we have been dealing with probably for over 20 years in the assessor's office there in Marion County. And within 1 week, to the very day of that email, approximately 3 years ago, with her and her office's approval and I'm trying to think of the right word, with their stamp of approval, for lack of a better term, to the board there in Marion County, they suggested that they cleared the tax that they had sent the Indianapolis Baptist Temple at that time. I think we're talking about $530 here. Our bill was $75,000 for 1 year property taxes on our building and property. And so Melissa Tetrick has just been wonderful these last 25 plus years, and whether under Republican or Democratic administrations in the state of Indiana. They have accommodated our faith. They have worked with us and helped us. We've sat in their offices. They have been nothing but kind to us and just to our church personally, much less all the other churches in Marion County or throughout the state that they may or may not have been involved with. But as far as our personal church is concerned, they've accommodated our faith. They've been over backwards to help us. And so I'm very, Melissa Tetrick, I'm sure you probably know her, I sing her praises. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady. She doesn't have an agenda. Not that anyone here has an agenda, but just speaking of her, she doesn't seem to have an agenda. She's always friendly. She's always seemingly in our court, and always there to help. Anytime I call, email her, she gets right back with me, and she just, if I have a problem, I call Melissa, and she seems to take care of it. And so I appreciate the fact that Marion County has always gone by not just the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law, and realized that our unregistered churches are in a different category. It is a little different animal in a sense, and they know that we're not trying to get over anything on them, and we have a good working relationship. And so I'm very grateful for what Marion County has done for us as a church, and we're just very, very appreciative. And so from a very practical standpoint, we're thankful that our faith has been accommodated and that they have worked with us and they continue to work with us. In fact, the people that we rent our building from every 2 years had to reapply for tax exemption on that property so that a church could use it. And at this point in time, that has even been waived. And I asked Melissa in an email a couple years ago when we were going through the situation, what do you want me to do from this point forward? And she said, just send us a letter every year that it's still being used for church religious purposes. And last week, we just sent our letter once again. And we do the same for personal property taxes. We have started 19 churches, most of them in the city of Indianapolis over the last 13 years, inner city churches. And we file on their behalf also, as far as the letter of notification, whether it's property taxes or whether it's personal property taxes. And so it's been a great relationship, and we've been very, very thankful. And I hope the same kindness can be extended to Trinity Springs Baptist Church, because we know that if something unravels here, it could unravel somewhere else also. And so our battle is his battle is our battle, and we're in it together, and we hope that this court will rule in his favor and the church's favor and accommodate their faith just as Marion County has accommodated ours. Thank you.
Ms. McGuire, do you have any questions regarding the testimony or exhibits you've seen?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you have any objections to any of the exhibits being introduced into the record?
No, that's, it's okay.
Right then, with that, it's your opportunity to present the county's position.
It's definitely not our intention to harass anyone, Pastor Martin. We were just trying to do what we thought the Department of Local Government Finance wanted us to do. Like Indiana Code, there are some organizations that don't have to file at all. But, you know, the churches weren't one of them, according to our understanding, know that they do have to file. And that's why, you know, that was denied by the people. And also the churches, all churches are listed as theaters in Indiana. That's not just exclusively, you know, for yours. Any church building in the state of Indiana is to be listed as a theater, according to the Department of Local Government Finance. And in 2009, there was a memorandum by the Commissioner stating, which you said that from then on, if it was like any that had been approved as nonprofit, you know, they no longer had to file after that. If it had been approved by the PO board. See, I think the I really don't have anything.
Do you have any questions?
One, I may not have understood. You said in 2009, the commissioners said that anybody had been approved wouldn't have to file.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if Peter Boy had approved them.
Well, prior to 2009, we hadn't been approved, you know.
Well, the what happened the last time you had filed, the like it was, the people had denied it, but it had got mixed up with my approval. That's why it was approved back then.
Well,
Which was strictly, that was my error. That was, you know, and you continued to get the exemptions for those years.
well, we go back to 2006.
Right.
So I'm missing something here. It seems that if it had been approved, then we wouldn't have to do anything else.
Well, but it was approved. I signed my name to it, but it should have been denied at that time. And I mean, actually, it should have been taken care of, you know, then. but it got mixed up, you know, all of the nonprofits had to file at that time. And it just got, you know, mixed up, and I signed it in error at that time. But I wish churches never, you know, would have had to file. I mean, it would have been, it's not my, you know, choice to, we're just trying to follow what the, you know, DLGF, you know, suggested that we do.
Well, everything that I've read is, you know, indicates that if it doesn't change use, you don't have to keep filing these things. And this thing's been a church for over 150 years, and I haven't found where it needs to be refiled.
Well, maybe it's a matter of interpretation, you know, on that. But I've always been thought that, say, if the church had bills on, then they need to readdress their.
Well, I think they're correct. If they change, you know, they put in a restaurant or something, you know. But none of that's true, you know, what we're doing.
And then it's sort of confusing, there's two by the same name. Aren't there two Trinity Baptist churches?
No.
Or Trinity Springs Baptist churches?
Well, there's a church, Trinity Springs Church of Christ out there. But there's just one Trinity Springs Baptist Church.
What about the one that used to be Fairview? Is that not Trinity Springs Baptist?
It's part, yes. But Trinity Springs Baptist, it's a mission.
Yeah.
A mission church of Trinity Springs Baptist Church.
I'm the pastor of that church. I'm a missionary out of Brother Jones Church. It's a work out of Trinity Springs.
That
But
church,
it has the same name, right?
no, it's Fairview. It's known as Fairview Baptist Church.
But that's not what's on the deed, is it?
Don't have
But that's why it gets confusing.
Well, that's a completely different thing than this.
Yeah.
It's completely, since all this happened, I mean, this is a recent thing. That building was empty and nobody was using it. We had got an opportunity to get it and send one of our preacher boys out there to have services on Sunday. And but that's another thing that, you know, isn't involved in this that I see.
If there are no further matters to consider, does either party wish to make a closing statement?
No, I think we've pretty well covered our position.
Okay. As you probably both know, all parties will be notified of the determination in this administrative appeal. The way it works is I make a recommendation, and then that recommendation is finalized, either approving or disagreeing with me, by the three board commissioners in Indianapolis. And the process has probably been taking in the realm of maybe 90 days, something like that, just to give you a kind of a time frame.
Yeah.
All right, with that, this hearing is concluded then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for all coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pastor Strand.